Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Guido Goes Off, where I am answering questions sent to me by friends, but, I was wanting to do this yesterday, but unfortunately I crashed harder than Mojo Rawley when the Red Bull wears off. And probably the other thing I insinuate that he uses too. But anyway, back to more of your fan-submitted questions. This next set of questions comes from John Ritland at Reborn Again. For those of you familiar with the YouTube show Real Honesty with John Ritland, he's John Ritland. So, I know he does Q&As as well. He's been a big supporter over the years. Watches it. We kind of talk each other up on our shows, and so his questions. They're pretty interesting. The first one, 3 women you would push. Okay. I'm going to do this in the simplest way. I'm assuming in WWE, so I'm going to pick one from Raw, one from SmackDown, one from NXT. Okay. As far as Raw, Sonya Deville. I think there's a lot of potential there. I know a while back, like after I found out she was signed, I bemoaned it. But she has, I think there's a lot of potential there. I mean, she's easily more charismatic than Ronda Rousey right now, and probably will ever be. And the other member of Absolution that isn't Paige, you'll probably all know what I think of her. But yeah, if they ever splinter Absolution, aside from Paige, which hopefully, everything, what we're hearing is not as serious as what we're hearing it is, and I'd like to see Paige, make another run as women's champion. But if they splinter when they splinter Absolution, I would totally push Sonya Deville. On SmackDown, do I even gotta answer this? Becky Lynch. Because like I said, she has been just dogged ever since. I feel bad. I've actually equated her to the Charlie Brown of the women's division, because no matter what, she can never seem to get ahead. Even though she puts in all the effort in the world. She's great with fans, great on the mic, but it's fuck all apparently. Oh wait, yeah, I forgot. It's all for you, Charlotte. It's all for you. Because in the previous episode, when someone asked like what roster moves I would do, I said move Becky to Raw, because and I know this is going to sound dirty, but a lot of you know what I mean when I say this. Clearly, she's not getting ahead doing it doggy style. And by that I mean because Road Dogg's the booker of SmackDown, not that, trying to insinuate that I would. Let's face facts. We all know I love me some Becky. But yeah, but from a purely professional her wrestling standpoint, I think moving her to Raw would be a great move, because she can start fresh. And in NXT, one of the talents I'm really liking there, and I'm seeing that they might be doing something different with them. And please God, don't! I'm begging you, don't do this! But one of the people, the women I would push in NXT would be Lacey Evans. Now, I find that the dichotomy of her gimmick very interesting. She comes across as a genteel Southern belle, but yeah, we all know her background as a freaking badass. Leading a specially trained MP unit in the Marine Corps. I don't know how you get more badass than that, especially being a woman. but yeah, I mean, the simple fact is, I like that she comes across as this, and then now she's kind of started doing some unladylike things, so and kind of getting a heelish persona. I think it works, and I think she could do big things with it. Now, I did recently see a picture of her and with um, a 6-man tag that involved Wesley Blake and Chad Lyle, who many of you know as Gunner from TNA. Forget who the third guy was. I probably should always forget who the third guy was, but it on more honest and honestly, but like I said, keep the Southern Belle thing going. The lady that does some very unladylike things. So there's the 3 women I would push. And his next question: name 5 Mania matches you would show a new fan to wrestling to get them more hooked into wrestling. You'd think this would be hard, but it's not really that hard. First one would be Savage Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. The second one would be the ladder match, Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon from WrestleMania 10. Austin versus Hart, the submission. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, the submission match from WrestleMania 13. Next one would be, there's a lot of Shawn Michaels on this list, but again, he is Mr. WrestleMania. Next one, I keep forgetting what WrestleMania is. I want to say 26 or 27. I think it was 27. Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. Because, and then my 5th one, the triple threat main event of WrestleMania 30. Batista versus Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. Because, but anyway, those 5, let's say, if you want to get into wrestling, if you want to like see the true artistry and storytelling and great athleticism that is possible in a wrestling ring, easily those 5 matches. His third question. This one, it's a good question. Will a women's match main event Mania? As the WWE is like currently, like right now, the way they're doing it, I would say no. I mean, they'd take one of the women's matches and they'd bill it as part of one of our 3 main event matches. Because let's face facts. There's only one main event on any card, and that is the last match of the night. As it is now, where you still have a lot of members of the Old Boys Club, in booking, in writing, in charge of creative, right as it is right now, the answer is no. But if some things change, like if Triple H gains more power, and some of the good old boys get tossed to the wayside, the likes of Dunn and Michael Hayes and Road Dogg, if they get they get sent packing, then there's a better than average chance. Because like I said, both male and female WWE has one of the most talented rosters they've ever had in their existence. You have women who, if given the chance, can steal the show. So I'm saying maybe I would say possibly maybe 5 years down the road. Maybe a little less. I'd say like 3 to 5 years. We could see a women's match main event WrestleMania. Because like I said, it's possible that Vince could be gone. It's possible, and then they're going to clean house with Dunn, take Dunn out, do whatever they're going to do with him, which is probably just like bye. Like you remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? whenever Uncle Phil threw Jazz out. That's how Kevin Dunn's going to leave WWE. And they should film it. And they should play it over and over and over and over again. And have Strowman do it! I don't know, like, who's writing the stuff that Strowman's done as of late, but that guy needs to get a raise. Because not only is it entertaining, and, you know, it's... Sometimes you want to humanize the monsters a little bit. You at least let them have some fun. But anyway, thank you, John, for these questions. I know his channel is in the subscriptions. So, there's my personal subscriptions on this channel. So, give them a watch. Alright. Next set of questions comes from another great YouTuber. Justin at NXT WWE NXT guy. I'm sorry. He actually recently did a Q&A. Really great answers. Okay, the first one's easy. Favorite sport to watch. So what do I watch apart from wrestling? More wrestling! Okay, I'm assuming he meant besides wrestling, and I'm going to treat it as such. I watch a lot of football. I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan. So, yeah, I watch a lot of football. I probably have more fun watching football. It's because football is one of those things meant to be watched with friends. You know, kind of like wrestling. You know, wrestling totally is in the same nature, and should be. I think I think everything should be watched with friends, except for Steel Magnolias. You should watch that by yourself with a box of tissues and a tub of ice cream. Why am I talking about Steel Magnolias? I have no idea. I'm gonna shut up now. Okay. His next question. Top 5 men and women in wrestling right now. I'm guessing this is my opinion. Who in my opinion are the top 5 women in wrestling right now? Men and women in wrestling right now. Well, as far as top 5 men, right now the ones I like watching, my personal top 5 of guys I like watching right now. I like watching Dean Ambrose. I hope he comes back fairly soon. Because they want to talk about making things unpredictable for the fans. Just put Dean Ambrose in the match, and there you go. Let's see. I like Kevin Owens. I just think he's underutilized again as someone else that has been dogged by certain members of WWE management because of appearance, which I don't get. Kenny Omega. Love watching me some Kenny Omega. Also on that New Japan vein, I know that I don't know if a lot of people who watch this show are familiar with the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. But sometimes you just like a guy that kicks a lot of ass. And so I like watching his matches a lot. And the 5th one, it's going to sound interesting, but it would be the reigning Ring of Honor World Champion Dalton Castle. Someone asked me once to describe him, and well, I know I'm kind of dating myself as far as this reference, but I said, imagine if Liberace wrestled and was really good at it. That's Dalton Castle. He beat Cody Rhodes for the Ring of Honor Championship at Final Battle, and just last week successfully defended it against Punishment Martinez. But yeah, he's like entertaining as all get out. Even through his Instagram and his Twitter, he's just a lot of fun. Okay, so let's see. Now my top 5 women in wrestling right now. Oh. Shit. Does it just have to be 5? I guess it just has to be 5. Um, well, Paige, obviously. Um, Everybody knows I love me some Paige. And, I keep saying there's two types of people in this world: those who talk about their love of Paige, and those who are denying their love of Paige. Um, I would like to see more of Becky Lynch because she's really good at it. But the problem is, the problem is any woman on SmackDown right now, it's pretty much Charlotte and everybody else. Is how it's booked. We're gonna make Charlotte look great, and then look, we got some other women here. I mean, even the Riot Squad has kind of been relegated to playing second fiddle with everyone else to Charlotte. Let's see. I do like Asuka. I think she's very entertaining. I again wish I'm sitting there thinking to myself, they're saying that she can't speak English. She probably speaks English better than I do when given the chance, because I think if they just cut the crap on that and just stopped using the Japanese stereotype gimmicks. I mean, yeah, we all gave Jinder Mahal crap when he was making fun of Shinsuke Nakamura, but WWE has not done him any favors. I mean, Asuka has been booked very strongly, but they booked her into a corner in NXT. It wasn't that she she's unbeaten. Yeah, because you made it to where you had no other woman on the roster could beat her and make it believable. And you're kind of in the same boat now on Raw. So what do you do? And then, like I said, there's a possibility, there's the rumor she might be facing Charlotte at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship. If she beats Charlotte's already put down the rest of the women's roster. What are you going to do? You'll have to have Ronda Rousey beat her because there's no one else who can make it believable. Okay. Let's see. My number 4 woman in wrestling right now, Rosemary. Because let's face facts, she makes the Knockouts division the current Knockouts division in Impact watchable. And it's kind of like, who else is there? I mean, you got Allie, where they never really gave her any ground. They've always made her this weak, timid person. You've got, Laurel Van Ness of Chelsea Green, who's bye. She's out the door. You bring in Hanaya, who's already out the door. You're not left with much. Gail Kim retired. Jade fucked off. I mean, right now, who else you got besides a bunch of indie people? Like, okay, what was that? Oh. There's one I know somebody was talking about. You got Casey Spinelli. You probably get something that she needs traction, of course. I think there's a chick in LAX, right? I'm sorry. Since I cut the cord, I haven't really been able to watch that much Impact. I'm just seeing snippets that involve Rosemary, and like I said, Rosemary makes it watchable. Because I ain't watching it for El Verizon. Okay, so that's my top 5 men and women right now. Oh wait, no, I still need a 5th woman. Emma. I know I did a list on Twitter and I put Jessica Havoc, but after seeing what Emma's been doing on the indie circuit, I'm sorry, Tennille Dashwood. She's going by her real name now. It just, she can work. Why WWE fired her? But she can work. Okay, so now I've got my top 5 men and women, and I'm going to move on to his last question. The top 10 years. What are the top 10 years in wrestling that you since you've been watching wrestling that you think were the best? Ooh. Let's see. 10 individual years. Unfortunately, I'm breaking this up into groups. Because I think there's like several like 2, maybe 3 year periods where wrestling was fun for me. Okay. The first one is going to be, I would say, between 1987 and 1990. Okay, if you go to tail end of 1986 in that, and I kind of have to include that part in there. The reason being, mostly because of, like, at least 87 and 88 in that. 89 was okay, but 90 got a lot better. And the reason why I'm taking this big block of time, the $1 Million Man had become the top heel in WWE. Piper had left. Orndorff had turned face, and then he left. And so you had this gap filled. You had this gap for heels you needed to fill, and it was finally time for Ted DiBiase to become the top heel in the company, and it worked. Because this was the time he was literally trying to buy the WWE Championship. And now like I said, the reason why I have to include the tail end of 1986 was because of that match between Hulk and Andre for the WWE Championship, the big rematch from the WrestleMania 3 match, and that was the big event. So where, of course, you had the twin referee scandal, that both Dave and Earl Hebner, where Andre got the title, and he was basically giving it to Ted DiBiase, and then Jack Tunney said, no, we're not having that. I think it's like the first time Jack Tunney was actually effectual as the president of WWE. And so then, which launched the big tournament at WrestleMania 4, and of course, to make sure that Hulk and Andre wouldn't meet the finals, they met in like the second round. I think it was like a 14-man tournament, and their match was in like the second round. But like I said, and then Million Man basically coasting through. I think he only had to wrestle like twice, or like 3 times, because I think one time his opponent got disqualified. One opponent couldn't continue, and so he like coasted in. And then of course you had Macho Man going through winning the whole thing, but and that's the thing. That's the thing that really irked me. If you watch it and you go back and you realize that basically Hogan was up Savage's ass so hard while he was WWE champion, basically because he couldn't stay out of the spotlight. And and it's and that kind of dogs Savage. It's and then of course, so basically like 85 through 87 or 86 or like and then like I said, 88 and 89 and 90. Like I said, when basically the entirety of Ted DiBiase's run as the top heel in WWE and doing everything he could to be the WWE champion, because he couldn't get it on his own. He couldn't, even though he's easily one of the greatest wrestlers ever. But then, of course, you know that, well, since he couldn't win the championship, he couldn't buy it, he couldn't swindle it, couldn't steal it, whatever, just fashioned his own, the $1 Million Championship. And, you know, then there was the, you know, the rigmarole around that. And, it actually included, in that time frame, the face turn of another one of my favorite wrestlers, the Big Boss Man. You know, when they said, you know, when you know, apparently the $1 Million Man paid Slick to get the Boss Man to do it, and then the Boss Man realizes that he is working for some unscrupulous people, and then turns. Let's see. And so, but like I said, you know, and then of course the $1 Million Man brings in another monster to try to get him the WWE Championship. That being my favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker. So that's why, you know, you're branching into 1990. So okay, like you got that like 4-year block, 87 to 90. If you add in a little of 86. Another 2-year block that I think was instrumental. And that was 1997 through 1998. Actually, you know what? Take it back. 96 through 98. The formative years of the Attitude Era. And like I said, because you had the launch of some of the biggest stars like that have gotten the modern generation of wrestling fans into wrestling. You know, you got the launch of Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, even though Bret as a heel, I think was some of his best work was the latter part of 1997 up until the Montreal Screwjob. You know, and then you had The Rock coming into his own. I mean, and this covers him coming in. This covers him. This period of time covers him coming in. It covers him being rejected by the fans, and then The Rock, and then the formation of The Rock that you all know and love. But yeah, and then, but like I said, you know, you're talking about the formation of the Attitude Era, you know, this era that got most of the current generation into wrestling. Okay, so let's see, that's about 6 years. Oh, I would say also 2014 was a big year. The reason why, because NXT started to become into prominence, and by that same token, the evolution of women's wrestling. Because you know, with NXT arrival, you had, you know, what many point to as the turning point in women's wrestling in WWE, which was that NXT Women's Championship match between Paige and Emma. You know, you had the Yes Movement, you know, basically getting the main event changed for WrestleMania. And then, like I said, NXT starting to build as a brand. You know, getting, you know, you're seeing a lot of this homegrown talent, and then you know, then NXT would build on this and start getting stars from everywhere, the likes of Hideo Itami, Kevin Owens, and Finn Balor. Basically building on that. So yeah, like, so 2014 was a big one. That's the thing. I think we're kind of We were kind of in the doldrums for a while. Oh, 2000. I want to say 2008. No, wait, no. I think it's 2011. The summer of Punk. Uh, when CM Punk, uh, you know, basically saying, "I got the title and I'll run off with it." Bye. um, but yeah, the summer of Punk was, really fun to watch because I know a lot of people think Punk is underrated. But honestly, the way he, yeah, I keep bringing this up a lot. If you consider John Cena the Hulk Hogan of the 21st century, CM Punk is obviously its Piper. Because nobody was better on the stick than him. But the one advantage he had over Piper was he could really, really go. Piper, as much as I love listening to him talk, Piper was not the greatest wrestler. But Punk has that wrestling, the better wrestling background. And to add to that, the man was great on the mic. I think I've only got 8 years. So, I'm gonna throw in 96 or throw in 1986. Because you had WrestleMania 3. You had the big feud between Steamboat and Savage. Which led up to the match that many still consider to be the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Many whose favorite wrestler doesn't rhyme with Roman Reigns. It's just I'm trying to find like another 2 years, but it's kind of hard to do. It's because I'm kind of picking like high spots in the time I was watching wrestling because I want. But yeah, because things were great, and it's just too much yo-yoing. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with those time frames because I think, like I said, the wrestling is better. This was when there was a lot of innovation. Launching points for not only companies, but differentiation from companies, but also an entire culture in WWE. Other wrestling promotions were doing this far sooner, but then people would come along and everything. So again, Justin, thank you very much for these questions, and this part has run a bit long. So I'm going to cut it off here. I do still have more questions, but I'm going to address them in another episode. So if I haven't gotten to your questions yet, I will. It's just not going to be in this episode because I had a lot to cover with John and Justin. Thank you guys both for the questions you submitted. What do you think about what I covered? Feel free to drop a line in the comment section below. And if you have any questions you don't think I've answered, or you would like to have answered, like why am I wearing a shirt with a Chibified Captain America on it? Feel free to drop that in the comment section below. Of course, you can talk to me via my social media. And as always, please like the video, share it with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. More questions will be answered. But until then, I'm the Guido, and I think we're done here.